Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. Listen, we just wrapped up week 8. We're filming this right after the Chiefs Commanders game. So we're going to jump right into that. But, today you can see we're pretty much by ourselves, okay? Which is all right with me because sometimes we need some alone time. You see, that was my listen for all the ladies out there, that was the romantic voice. You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't that good, that was the best I could do. So don't worry about it. So, what we're gonna talk about? We're gonna talk about a couple games in week 8. Pick some week 9 games, and then like probably talk about some contenders, who's going to do what, and people that possibly can make some moves in the NFL. So this week really didn't have a lot of really good games. If I'm gonna be honest, it didn't have like a plethora of really good games. Um, but I think there's things that we can dissect from these games and some takeaways that I think are going to be pretty interesting. I want to look something up real quick though. Give me 1 second, y'all. I just want to look up some conference. You're not going to give me the conference standings? I asked for the conference. Oh well. Oh well. Hmm. Okay. All right, that's cool. So, as I said, we finished this. We're filming this right after the Commanders Chiefs game, so I think we should probably just jump right into that. So the Chiefs won 28-7. They beat the Commanders 28-7. Um, this was in Kansas City. So of course we always say the losing teams stats first. Marcus Mariota, because Jane Daniels is still injured. That's very unfortunate. But Marcus Mariota, he was 21 of 30 for 213 yards, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. He also led them in rushing with 28 yards rushing, which doesn't say much. Yeah, it doesn't say much at all. Um, Jeremy Nichols, he had 5 receptions for 60 yards, no touchdowns, but Terry McLaurin had 54 yards and he had the touchdown. So let's see what they had on defense. So Bobby Wagner had a interception. Um, Lattimore had a reception. Had an interception. They had 3 picks. I mean, three sacks. I mean, these don't look like stats, but they won 28-7. I mean, they lost 28-7. So I mean, it looked like they played pretty well on defense at least. So going over to Patrick Mahomes, 25 of 34, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. Isaiah Pacheco led them with 12 carries for 58 yards, no touchdowns there, but Kareem Hunt had a rushing touchdown. And Travis Kelce had 6 receptions for 99 yards and a touchdown. Rashee Rice, 9 receptions, 93 yards and a touchdown. And then Kareem Hunt also had a receiving touchdown. What they do on defense? They did have the 2 picks, and they had 2 sacks. And they had 2 sacks. So the Chiefs won 28-7. Commanders are definitely a letdown team for this year. They're not gonna make the playoffs. You can pretty much see that at 3-5. Looking at what's going on with the NFC having so many teams that are really, really, really good. Commanders definitely they're probably going to slide out of the playoffs in general. But last year was very exciting. They might want to consider shutting down Jayden Daniels. Just throwing that out there just to see what's going on. You know what I mean? Make sure he's good um, for next year for 2026, and get some picks, get some higher picks. So all of these kind of things, these are things that you kind of got to consider with that. So we'll see what they do with that. But the Chiefs, listen, y'all, the Chiefs are back. The Chiefs are back. Okay, they had they went from a team who it looked really hard for them to move the ball and score points, and they were figuring out how to do that. To now they're a team with everybody healthy and back off suspension. Rashee Rice, uh, they have too much now. Now they have too much. You took too long. You see, the Chiefs, and they know they're gonna get you too. They're not only overly talented team now with their wide receiver core and their depth at running back and their offensive line. They're a team that's the best situational team in the NFL, and there's a large gap between that. So even with a little bit of talent, they're figuring out matchups that the rest of the league can't stop. They're figuring out matchups to exploit everybody that they're playing against. They're better at that in game than anybody, maybe in NFL history. Now they got a lot of talent. Now they got a lot of talent. Now I will say this about the Chiefs. Um, I still don't think this is a overly talented roster defensively. I think they need another pass rusher. That might be the segment that I do next week. Teams that need a pass rusher to get over the hump. To get over the hump. Blah. I messed that up. Teams that need pass rushers to get over the hump. Because there's quite a few teams that need that. And there's like two premier pass rushers that can be acquired, in my opinion, because their rosters aren't that well. So we'll see how that goes, though. So yeah, we're gonna go to the next game. What we got? 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 Okay. So we started there. So where did we want to go next? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go Bears versus Ravens. So the Ravens beat the Bears without Lamar Jackson, by the way. They won 30-16. They beat the Bears 30-16, which shocked me because I had this whole reel that came out that was basically talking about Lamar Jackson coming back this week and that being why they're going to win this game. And he didn't come back. Then I assumed they was going to lose. And then they won anyway. So I don't know. NFL's weird from time to time. Um, So Caleb Williams, he was 25 of 38, 285 yards, zero touchdowns, and one pick. DeAndre Swift had 11 carries for 45 yards and a touchdown. Rome Odunze had 7 receptions for 114 yards, no touchdowns. DJ Moore also had 73 yards receiving, but they had no passing touchdowns once again. Let's see what they did on defense. They had 1 sack, 2 sacks. They had 2 sacks and no picks. So when I read off stats like that, I'm looking to see if they got a lot of pressure on the quarterback, if they, tricked the quarterback and stuff like that. So it didn't look like they got a whole lot of pressures, but they did get, like I said, they did get 2 sacks, and we'll see what happens. So Tyler Huntley came in 17 to 22, 186 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. Derrick Henry, 21 carries, 71 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Zay Flowers led them with 7 receptions for 63 yards, but Charlie Kohler actually had the receiving touchdown. He had 1 reception for 10 yards. Let's see what they did. How many sacks did they have? They had one. They really didn't pressure too much either. Um, but Nate Wiggins actually had the interception. They had one interception. Okay. Okay. So I think I figured out the Bears now. The Bears aren't a good team. It took me a while to see are they really good because technically speaking, they're 4-3. This is a team you can start to see they're going to start losing a lot more games going down the stretch, or they're going to lose enough to not make the playoffs going down the stretch. And that's a shame because this is the second year in a row we kind of had high hopes. Well, last year we had really high hopes for the Chicago Bears. But coming into this year, they wanted to see a bounce back year from that because the Caleb Williams rookie year was very underwhelming. Well, let me tell you, his sophomore year is also underwhelming. Um, they have to figure out what's going on with him. He was the number one overall pick in the NFL draft, and the quarterback drafted number two looks light years better than him. Jane Daniels looks so much better than Caleb Williams. It doesn't even make sense. Even with even with their new head coach. Sorry, I can't think of his name right now. It'll come to me. Ben Johnson. See how quickly it came to me? So even with Ben Johnson doing what he's doing, I can see what he's doing with the roster. I think next year we'll be saying the same thing about having high hopes for the Chicago Bears. But this year, I'm not really feeling what's going on. Caleb still needs to develop. And that's a shame. Now, for the Ravens, listen, y'all. Listen. The Baltimore Ravens are about to go on a run. They're about to run off a bunch of wins. Okay, Lamar now is coming back next week. Now I know I said it the first time, but this upcoming week, now he's definitely coming back. And when you look at their schedule, they have a very favorable schedule going down the stretch. I know they started 1-5, but now looking at 2-5. If you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who started to look like they were going to run away with the division, now Pittsburgh is really only they're what are they? One game better than them. They're one or two games better than them right now. But Pittsburgh got. If you look at Pittsburgh's schedule, now they got some losses coming their way. Pittsburgh definitely got some losses coming on their way. Um, so I think this is a division that it looked like the Pittsburgh Steelers, were going to run away with. Now, when you look at it, I'm actually predicting it. I'm telling you right now, the Baltimore Ravens are going to come back and they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to win the AFC North. They're going to make the playoffs. You heard it here first on Cuz You Don't Know Football. All right, 49ers and Texans. All right. The Texans, man, the Texans are getting a little sneaky now. I mean, I got more to say about them, but we'll see. Um, the Texans, they won 26-15 against the San Francisco 49ers. So got some stats. Mac Jones still starting. Oh, I wonder how long Brock Purdy is out for. I haven't gotten that answer. So whatever. Mac Jones, keep doing your thing while you in there, bro. He was 19 to 32, 193 yards, two touchdowns, and a pick. Christian McCaffrey only had 25 yards rushing. Jeez, they shut him down. Juwan Jennings led them with 45 yards receiving, and George Kittle had a receiving touchdown, and so did Jake Tong. I don't know. Is that Tong? Is that Tongues? Tongues? I'm gonna guess that's Tongues and not Tongues. So Jake Tongues, he had a receiving touchdown. All right, let's see what the 49ers did defensively. They had no sacks. They did have a pick. Who had the pick? Okay. Mr. Lenore had a pick. I'm not even gonna try to say his first name. And that's pretty much what happened there. Okay. Now, CJ Stroud, he was 30 of 39 for 318 yards, two touchdowns, and one pick. Um, Jaquavius Marks, he had 11 carries for 62 yards. Nick Chubb also had 56 yards rushing. Um, Javier Hutchinson, he had five receptions for 69 yards and a touchdown. And Jaden Higgins also had a touchdown. Let's see what they did on defense. They had one sack, two sacks. They had two sacks and a pick by Kamari Lassiter. I want to see something. Sorry, y'all. What I'm looking up is the Texans schedule going down. Just to see. I was just very curious about looking down what's gonna be for them. Okay. So for the 49ers, I've been predicting this for the last couple weeks, but the San Francisco 49ers, they're gonna start to fall off now. All the injuries, it was a great story while it lasted. The coaching job that was happening was great. They look like the replacements. You remember the movie The Replacements with Keanu Reeves? This is basically that team, and unfortunately, they're not going to make the playoffs though. At 5-3, they're definitely not out of it, but I'm just not seeing where their wins are really going to come from. So we'll keep an eye on them going down the stretch to see if uh, maybe they can start to eliminate some other people and beat some other people and mess up some other people's playoff chances. But I'm saying it here first. I'm looking at it, projecting. I'm projecting the San Francisco 49ers are not going to make the playoffs. You heard it here first. I know in the comments y'all going to kill me over this one, but you heard it here first. All right. Now for the Texans. What I was looking up was the Texans schedule to see what I felt like they could do. Now, the Texans defense is, to me, the Texans have the best defense in the NFL. Okay. And it's a shame because they had so many injuries at their wide receiver core offensively, and they just didn't address the offensive line this year. I bet you they won't make that mistake again next year. But for this year, their team, I think they're interesting. At 3-4, it's not great, but they could get back into the thick of things. They could get back into this playoff race. Now they definitely have a couple losses coming their way. I looked at their schedule. They still have the Colts twice. They got Buffalo one time. Um, who else did they have? They have. I mean, they got the Chargers. They got the Chiefs. So they definitely have some losses. I'm not saying they're losing all of those games, but they're definitely gonna lose some of them. So we'll see if they can stay 9-8. 9-8 seems to be the we'll see, like the make or break point. It's like the where 8-8 definitely was it was 500, but you weren't making the playoffs. 9-8 is like you might squeak in, but I don't know what they're going to be um, going down the stretch. But I don't see them going 10-7. I'll say that I don't see them going 10-7. Um, but let's see what happens at 9-8 if they can. Let's see if they have a good down the stretch play. So we'll see about that. All right, Texans, I'm done with y'all now. But y'all lost the AFC South now, right? Okay, that's right. AFC South is back in Indy. All right, who we got now? Okay, yeah, that's pretty much everybody that I wanted to talk about in that regard. So, so yeah, so that's week 8. Like I said, it wasn't too many games that were really that good. So I think we did a good job of that. Um, week 9 games. Games to watch. Games to watch. Actually, I did want to look at one thing. Um, yeah, Bo Nix balled yesterday, boy. Bo Nix. You got to get an answer about. We got to get an answer about Bo Nix going down the stretch. Okay. So that was week 8. We're going to get to week 9 picks. Week 9 picks. What games we watching for? Colts Steelers. Colts Steelers in Pittsburgh. I don't care. The Indianapolis Colts, we win in this game, okay? Listen, I love what Indianapolis is doing. I love what we're doing. I do have my fears about us going down the stretch, okay? We do have the best record in the NFL, okay? Just throw that out there. But I think we have some ceilings, and in the playoffs, I think we have to compensate for. I don't want to say compensate. We don't have to compensate for Daniel Jones. I just haven't seen him play like this, so I don't believe that he's that guy who's going up against Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, and he's just like, all right, we can match up quarterbacks with this guy. That's not. I don't know. I have to see that, but I've never seen that out of him. So I can't believe everything about this. But the Indianapolis Colts, if you listening, listen, our roster looks good. We got a couple injuries. We got a couple injuries at cornerback. You know, I get it. We got some injuries. But damn it, if you listen to Indianapolis Colts, Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby, we can go get them. And if you really believe if you really believe Daniel Jones can be the guy that can go up against all these quarterbacks, then go get the pass rusher. We got Liatu Latu. He's playing great this year. We need another pass rusher to go get the other quarterbacks. Okay? If you feel like you really can win with Daniel Jones, stop playing and go get the pass rusher. All right. Now, Broncos, Texans. Now, I just don't think this is the week that the Texans can get back into this. Um, where's this game being played? This game is being played in Houston. So it's in Houston. That's just a tough team to come in right now. The Broncos have so many pass rushers. You don't have a good offensive line. Um, your defense is really, really, really great though, but the Broncos might have the second best defense in the NFL. So I can't pick the Texans to beat the Broncos. I think the Broncos are on a roll. I think they're confident, not overconfident, but I think they're a confident team coming down the stretch, beating Dallas the way they did last week and everything. Um, they're going to be confident. So, sorry, Texans, I'm going with the Broncos. Still. Now, this is supposed to be the game of the week. The Chiefs are in Buffalo. They sent them to Buffalo. Ooh. They sent them to Buffalo. This is going to be the game of the week. This is going to be the game of the week. The Chiefs are playing the Bills in Buffalo. You know what? I'm gonna go. You know what? I can't believe it until I see it. So I'm still going with the Chiefs in Buffalo because they've shown that they own you, Buffalo. The Chiefs have shown they own the Buffalo Bills. Um, Patrick Mahomes loves these games when he's going up against a quarterback who the league said is better than him, is as good as him. He plays better in those games. So I don't see this being different. Um, Buffalo, show me something. I'm still looking at you. I'm still looking at you as a problem for losing to Atlanta the way you did. But show me something. If you think I'm crazy, show me something then. All right, I'll put it to you that way. And you know what? I thought this was still going to be an interesting game, but I don't think it is anymore. But Seahawks, Commanders, Seahawks. I don't even know if Jaden Daniels is coming back. Um, Even if he was, I think the Seahawks have a really good roster. Um, yeah, I'm going Seahawks there. We can cut that short. What's my thought on? So, okay, so that's week nine. That's my picks in week nine. So now I'm gonna go on my thoughts on a couple teams. What were my thoughts on the Texans? Well, I told y'all I kind of think that they can get back into it, but I don't know. I think it might be a little bit too late. I think they messed up in the offseason by not getting the offensive line that they needed. I thought it was unfortunate that Tank Dell blew out his knee. I still hope his career isn't over, but he had a really bad knee injury. So they're thin at wide receiver. It's Nico Collins and not too much more. But that defense, man, whoo, the Texans and that defense is outstanding. Um, so yeah. So the Indianapolis Colts. So I just said a lot about the Indianapolis Colts. I really don't have too much more to say about that. Go get a pass rusher. If you think this is it, go get a pass rusher because Daniel Jones is on a 1 year, $14 million contract, which he's going to get extended. We already know that. Um, if you feel like he's the guy, you can't mess around with this. Go get the pass rusher. Pay the luxury tax. Let's go get it. The Patriots. Yo, I'm gonna be honest with you. Quiet as it's kept, the Patriots, they're a really solid team. They're playing well together. They don't have a lot of stars on this team. because the Patriots never have stars on their teams, and they still do that. But man, what Mike Vrabel is doing, he stepped in, man, and he has solidified this roster. You know what I mean? It looks like a really good roster. I don't have all the answers that I need for the Patriots. Uh, like Drake May, I don't know how good of a quarterback he really is yet. I know he's good. I know he's in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. What does the playoffs do to him? But they're definitely going to be a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team, and they're going to be a tough out for pretty much anybody. Um, but yeah, I just need more answers about the Patriots. Um, the Bills. So the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are going to make the playoffs. Okay, they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know if they win the division or they're in the wild card. They should win their division. They should, but the Patriots are right there, so we'll see about that. But they should win their division. Um, but in terms of Super Bowl contenders, I'm out on the Bills. I saw everything I needed to see. For Buffalo to be a true Super Bowl contender, you're gonna have to have Josh Allen be Superman through all the playoffs and the Super Bowl for that team to really contend. Anytime he even has a B game, everybody else plays worse. And I think that's unfair because when I look at their roster, they have a really good roster, but they don't have one legitimate pass rusher, let alone two. They don't have things. They needed to get another running back with James Cook. They needed to have another running back and two pass rushers. If they had that, I would look at them as a legitimate Super Bowl team. But as currently constructed, they don't scare me at all in terms of a Super Bowl because asking your quarterback to be Superman for the wild card, division, AFC championship game, Super Bowl. So for four straight games in the playoffs, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. Y'all can think whatever you want. Buffalo is not a true Super Bowl contender. I don't care what the rest is. They could not lose another game going into the playoffs, and I'm still gonna say the same thing. They're not built to go and win the Super Bowl. They're built wrong. Still. Okay, and finally, the Denver Broncos. You want to know who's built right? The Denver Broncos. Listen, the Denver Broncos are to me right now, today, are the second best team in the AFC. It's hard to look at the Chiefs and say that there's a team better than them when they're rolling, when they're definitely looking better and they're making the right decisions. But Denver is the team that checks all the boxes that I have to say that's what a Super Bowl winner is. My one question about the Broncos is Bo Nix, how you feeling, my man? How you feeling playing against Pat and then playing against Josh Allen and then playing against Lamar Jackson? How you feeling? Because you look good right now. And right now, I could honestly say I would pick the Denver Broncos in a playoff situation to come out of the AFC to beat all of them. How Bo Nix is playing right now. Let's see what the rest of the season provides for what people can learn about Bo Nix to put him in a bad situation. But the Denver Broncos, they check every position. Offensive line, great. Wide receiver core, like it's not great, but you don't want a top five wide receiver on your Super Bowl team. You really don't. It's a disadvantage for everybody who thinks that I'm wrong about that. Check the stats of top five wide receivers winning Super Bowls. Having a top five wide receiver is actually a disadvantage to you winning the Super Bowl. So their receiver core is very good. That's what you want. Okay? Offensive line, very good. Running backs, they got depth at running back. Defense, second best defense in my eyes in the NFL. Two legit pass rushers. Denver is ready to go win the Super Bowl if Bo Nix is also ready to go to the Super Bowl. That's all I got to say about that. Okay. Well, ooh. Ooh, okay, cool. So I think right there we pretty much covered everything we needed to cover between week 8 and week 9. And man, this is always good, and I'm glad we got to have this time together. You know what I mean? So with that said, check the full episodes on Spotify and YouTube, and check the reels on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We all over the place. And guys, unfortunately, because I love y'all, it makes it so hard for me to say. Cause you don't know football. I'm your boy Reek. Like Martin said, I'ma see you when I see you. Peace.